Hello and how are you? My name is Muhindo Mbarak and I welcome you to our 6th video of learning how to make dashboards or web applications using Laravel Admin. So in previous videos we studied and completed the forms. So if you didn't watch those videos, I recommend that you go and watch them right now so you can be on the same page with us. In this video we're going to take it from there. We're going to look at another model or module, which is the grid or the table. So there is a lot that you can do with the table, and today is where we're going to start that journey. We're going to resume the journey. I'll take the journey of what? Of managing the table, because it's where all the data is collected and presented. So I hope you finished the forms. If you haven't, I really recommend you to watch my previous videos so you can understand the forms. Now in this this video, we're going to start from there and we're going to look at what? At tables I've just said. So without wasting much time, let's go straight into our project and then start demonstrating or start studying and look at each section of this grid, or what you call tables. So we always use this project for demonstrating, and you can see it is here. I've already opened it. It's called Hotel Pro. So you can use also your any kind of Laravel admin project for practicing these things. So let me go ahead and start the project. PHP artisan serve. So it should start executing. We should start working. Process. And then as it is processing, let me come and wait from here. So I'll just simply say 1 2. Let me open another tab here so you should not be confused with other things. 1 2, and then that is the port, and then it will be you're still processing. That is the port, by the way. Why it's taking a minute, I don't know. Okay, it has started working. So I'll come here to 127.0.what, and then I put here stroke admin. Okay, so I put stroke admin. It will do what? It will open. That is our project, right? That's our project. So we're going to create another section here for the grid, and it's where we'll be using to demonstrate. So let me launch the project. Here it is. And now let us first determine what we're going to look at. So we're going to look at the grid basics, okay? The grid basics, and we're going to look at basic information of the grid, and then after we go to the one-to-one relationship of using the grid. So let's go ahead and use the rooms. I think what should we use? I think we should use I think it's the room. Which one has one-to-one relationship? I think let us use the buildings. Okay, the building. Okay, let us use the building for this demonstration, because the building is one that has a relationship of rooms. But you can use anything that you that you want. Okay, so we're going to use the building to demonstrate this grid model. However, you can use also anything that you that you want. I want something that I can use that has a lot of examples. Okay, that's why I want to use the parent, so I can use that parent even to present things from the child, which is the room. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our controller that we're going to call, or you can even duplicate this very controller of buildings, this one, and then we give it another name, and then we give it a grid. Okay, so we're going to call it basic usage controller, grid basic usage controller. Okay, so let's go ahead and look for that building controller. It is this one here, right? So I'm going just to copy it and paste it. Okay, I'll just simply copy and paste it, and then I rename it. Let us create a fresh controller, no problem. Let's create a fresh controller. So I'll go to my commands, my terminal. My important commands, which are here. I always put here my important commands, and I'm going to put here, instead of calling it, to say this is a building. So we're going to use the building model. So here we're going just simply to call it another thing, so it should be different from the other one, and I'm going to call it grid. So I'm beginning without the grid, so you can, when I share this code, you can simply know things where how they're organized. So it is going to be called grid basic. Grid basics. Okay, grid basic control. Okay, so I can copy that. And the model that we're using is the building model. So let me copy that, and then I'm going to create another terminal, so it can have two terminals, one for this running the server, another one here, I click a plus, another one for doing what, for executing another one for executing my command. So I'll copy this command, I come and paste it here, and then I press enter, so it can create for me another controller for basic building. So here is the controller. So I'll go ahead and copy this name, I'll copy this, and then I press Ctrl and click on admin routes. Okay, so it will be here, and you can as well go to it directly with under app, under routes. So I'm going to put here admin routes. I'm going to paste here buildings. So I'll not keep it as building, because if I keep it as building, it will override this one. I'm just going to change the name. I'm going to call it grid dash basics. Okay, or basics like this. Okay, so this is how we're going to access this particular controller. Oh, how come I have to? Okay, just duplicate one. This is how we're going to access this this particular controller in what, in our what, in our anything. Okay, so I've put it here in the what, in the routes. So let's go ahead and see if we can access it. So I'll just simply come here, stroke admin, stroke grid controller, grid basics. Of course, obviously, we'll be able to do what? To access it. And there it is. Okay, that's our controller. So the other thing, I'm going to do what? I'm going to edit the menu and change the what? I'm going to change the I'm going to add it in the menu, sorry. So I'll just simply come here to admin, and then come to auth, and then come to menu. And then after coming to menu, I'm going to add it in the menu here. So we're going to have a section of grid. So I'll just simply come here and put grid like this, okay? And then grid model, you can just simply say grid or something like that. Let me put grid, and then you can put something that's relevant. You can put a table as an icon, and then after I post, okay, so this is just going to be just kind of a what, of a title of grid. So this is a grid. So under grid, I'm going to put there now the grid basics etc. So I'm going to put here grid basics, and it's going to be under what? Under grid. Okay, and then after, I'm going to call this, I can put any relevant what icon, and then I go ahead and put here the URL, which is grid basics, and then I publish. So when I publish, I'll have grid basics there. Okay, how comes there too? I can remove one. Okay, I can remove one. Okay, refresh. There it is. So here you can collapse everything from here if you want to collapse the whole menu. So let me organize my menu. Let the dashboard be on top, then followed by forms, then followed by what? By grid, and then I save. Okay, so if I refresh now, I should be having the grid there. So here we have our dashboard, and then we have the grid here. Okay, which under grid we have grid basics. So when it comes to grid basics, this is what we're going to use to demonstrate our today's lectures. Okay, here. So let's go ahead and start looking at different examples or different topics that we're going to cover. So the first thing is the basic usage of grid. So I'll come here and I show you how the basic usage of grid. So I'll come here to grid basics. So grid basics is here. It's the controller. I can collapse this menu so you can have enough space for demonstration. So I can change this title to grid basics. Okay, so this is the grid. Okay, so a grid is literally our table, or the table that we see. So it is organized in a way that you have a grid variable, and it has a new grid, and then here new, and then the class that you want to present in that grid, and then you put a grid and a column. Then the first parameter is the name of that column as it is in the table of database, and then here here is the what is the name that you want the user to see, and then you put all the columns that you want to display, and then you return the grid. So by doing like that, you'll be able to get the what the grid of the table that is powerful, the one that you know of Laravel Admin. So after doing that, so let's go ahead and see now. So you have basic usage. So let's look at basic usage. So basic usage, you have looked at it, how to display just a what? A table. So this one is the column itself, okay? So let us look at different things. For example, if you want this table, for example, if you want this table to be sortable, for example, I want the user to be able to sort this information in this table either in ascending or descending order. If I want the user to have that ability to sort in ascending and descending order, what I do, I have to add sortable in this column. So you just simply come here to this column and then add a method of sortable. Okay, sortable like this. Okay, so doing like that, Laravel Admin will give ability to the user to sort this column in ascending or descending order. So if I come and refresh, you will see a user will have this icon here where they can ascend, they can set these things, this table according this ID in ascending, and they can click there and they'll set this table according this ID in descending order. So it is as simple as that. I can as well put this sortable even on what? On any other column that I want. For example, I can put it here. I should be able to set by the date, and I can also maybe should also be able to set up to sort by the name, something like that. So doing like this, the user or the system user will have ability to sort in ascending or descending order. So if I come here and refresh, you'll see even these other columns, I can sort them in ascending and I can sort them in descending order. So that is that's simple but powerful. Okay. So that is sorting. Okay. So another thing that I need you to look at is the display. For example, if I want to show another thing when if I want to override the display, I want to show my own display in the table. I can override the display by implementing the display what? The display function. For example, I want maybe to, for example, I want to write my own date format. For example, okay, let's say I want to write my own date format. Okay, so this date format is like this, but what if I want to write my own date format? Okay, so if I want to write my own date format, what do? I have to override this default presentation. I need the column, but I need to change the date format. For example, that's an example, right? So I have to override the information in the displaying of this column. So to do that, I'll just simply come to this created that. Okay, so I can say maybe date or something like this, and then I attach a method here. I attach a method of display. Okay, so I just simply put a method called display. Okay, so this display will take a function inside it. Just open bracket and write a function, okay, inside it. Okay, display, open bracket, and then you write function like this. Like this, okay? Then you open bracket and close it here. So this is what it will take. So this is nothing but a simple function that is we put inside display. And then here you can put anything that you want, okay? This is just the naming of a variable. So what they're doing here, and then here you put return, and then you put what you want to display. So what they're doing here is they give you the variable or the value of this form, of what this form has. I mean, of what this column has, or what they could have done, what they could have displayed. So you can begin from there to use that value to display anything. So you can see me here, I'm just simply putting return, and then I say date, and then I write my date format in this way. Okay, date format in this way. So this one will be able to display date in form of year, month, and day. But you can change any format that you do it that you want, okay, using even carbon, something like that. So if I come and refresh now, I should be able to see this date written in the format that I want. Can you see? It has been written in the format that I want, which is not this one. So what does it mean? It means that I've successfully overrode. That's the past tense of override. I don't know. Overrode. I don't know. I've just overridden. I don't know. Okay. I've just overridden. Whatever. I've just overridden this what? This display. However, I can even return anything that I want. I can just simply even return my date, and then I put the date there, something like that. Okay, anything that you want. So if I do like this, I come and refresh, you should see that I have anything that I wanted to display. You can even put there your own HTML, something like that. Let's say that you want to put HTML. You can even do there your own calculation and then present it exactly as you want. So in other words, here you're just changing what you're supposed to see using this part of display, the default one, okay? You can do anything that you want in that function first, and then you return what you want to be shown to the user. You can even write HTML there, and then return to the user what you want the user to see. So in that display, you may need to access, even for example, you may need to access the raw data. Let's say that you want to access the record, the entire data of the record. For example, you want to access the name, and you're in this column. So if you want to access the name of this particular column, you can just simply put this. You just simply put this, and then you put like that. You point at, and then you put anything that you want on that row. For example, I want the name. Okay, so by doing like this, you'll be able to access other fields name or other columns name from there. See here, for example, I'm going to put the name of this particular building dash the date. I'm just demonstrating to you so you can get the idea. So if I come and refresh, you'll see I have the name and the date in the same column. So if you want to access the other external data or other data of this record, you simply use what? You simply use this. So I hope you've understood the meaning of display and why you need what? Why you need display. Because in some time you may need to modify what your user should see, but you still need the column. So you'll have to use the what? The display function to override that. So I hope you've understood. So if I come and refresh, everything should be alright. Yeah, everything is alright. So the next thing is we're going to look at describe. The fourth column appears for describe. Okay, let's go ahead and add that column there, and you see I also don't know it. Okay, so I think here is, for example, let's say updated art. as well. I think you can as well use this if you want to put that. Yeah. So did you see that? What I'm trying to say here is you can do what? You can override. I mean, you can display the column in another way by just simply putting the column name and then you call it like a method on grid. So that's another way of displaying the what? The column, and you'll achieve the same thing. Likewise to other things. For example, write this another column there. So if you want to change what you want to see there in the title, you can change it from here. And then you can override the display from here. For example, I can come here and instead I just simply put last update instead of updated. So if I come here and refresh, I'll achieve the same thing. Here it is last update. So if I also want to override the display, just simply put the display and override it. So that's just another way of how you may need in case you want to use that column method. So we're going to look at another thing called filter, and that one will help us to filter the form. We'll look at it in later. So that's how we do what? That's how we display things. So I've shown you how you can display using this method. I've shown you how you can display columns using this. I've shown you how you can change the appearance or the user should see. And then I've shown you how you can display multiple columns. Oh, this one I didn't know, I've not shown it. You can even display multiple columns like this by just simply say columns and then you put the column that you want to display. For example, if you don't want to do work on many logic on different columns, you can just simply do like this. Assume that you have no much logic to work on other columns. You can just simply put grid, then columns, and then you put, for example, here the name column, and then you put here the details column, and then maybe you put here the photo column. Then you can remove this. Can you see? So that means that you can write minimal code, or just with one line you can be able to achieve and present different columns just by the use of one line. Can you see? I'm able to achieve that. So you can try that one too. So we proceed. So another thing is modifying the source of data. Okay, so it's another very important part that you need to know. So sometimes you may need to put commands not to see everything, or to modify where the data is coming from. So if you want to do that, we use what we call the model on the grid, and then you'll be able to put your own conditions, just like the way you may need to put the conditions on the table itself. For example, let us say that we need to we need to display only we need to display only records that have IDs that are greater than 2, or greater than 1. Okay, IDs that have we need to display data that has IDs greater than 1, or we need to write our own condition, something like that. Okay, so if you want to write your own condition, of course you have to use the where. So you'll come here. If you want to write a condition in a grid, you just simply come to grid. You can come here on top, or you can write it anywhere, and then you say model like this, okay? Then you call this model like this, okay? So after doing that, then you write your original command that will not be tampered with by the user. For example, I can say I want where the ID is greater than 3, okay? So just simply put here, and then you put where. So this where is the normal where of SQL, okay? So you can use it to do anything, okay? So just simply put where, and then you put ID. For example, ID is greater than what? Greater than 3. Okay, so here you just simply put ID, and then you put a comma, and then you put the what? The condition. I mean the operator, and then put comma, and then put the value. For example, this will give us where ID is greater than 3. You can go ahead and even add order by ID descending. So this order by will make the default order that if the user comes for on the system, before they sort by themselves, this is this order is the one that will take place. For example, let's say that you want to show the most latest record on top, okay, to make it simple for the user to see what they have just added. So you just simply add that order by there, and then to be able to do what? To create your own order. You can say maybe order by name. So the names should be ordered. I mean, the table should be ordered in form of names by default, while the name is an ascending. So you can use that what? You can use this order by. So here, what's going to literally do is going to implement this condition, and it's going to show where the ID is greater than what? Greater than 3. So if I come here and refresh, you can see it is showing only values where where ID is greater than what? Greater than 3. You can see that, okay? So you can add even multiple where. For example, you can add multiple where in the same way. Say where is where ID is greater than 2, and then I can add another where. Of course, if you had another where, just like those ones of Eloquent, this second where will be of the and. So I just simply say where, and then I put where. For example, ID is less than what? Less than ID, comma, is less than, and then I put 5. So by doing like this, it will go ahead and combine these conditions to put the value that is having ID greater than this, and then you can put I with the value greater than ID greater than 5. So that the thing that will be able to do what? Display for me. So you can even write multiple where you see, and the answer is 4 and what? 4 and 5. So you can even write multiple what? Multiple wheres in the what? In the table. So that is how you implement the where in your what? In your table in Laravel Admin. You can even just as long as you understand the where of the Eloquent, this becomes very important and handy when you're using a system, when you're creating a system that will have multiple users with multiple access roles. For example, you can say, for example, if it is a user, and if it's a system that, for example, this hotel system, you want the boss or the management to be able to see everything on the what? On the form. In the form, whereby you want the customers to only see their own orders, and the managers or the people who are managing the hotel, they should see for everyone, but the customer should see their own. So that's where it becomes handy. You put that condition in here, and you say maybe where the customer, they're seeing their. You first check if it's a customer. So if it's the customer, you show them their own things. Then you put where else. If it is not a customer, you show them their what? You show them everything, something like that. Okay. So this is where it becomes handy and important. So you can, for example, put here if, and then you say logged in user equals to admin. Then you, in this first condition, you put where the ID is for this, and then you say with who else you show without a where. So something like this, you'll be able to do what? To achieve that very powerful technique of using the same table to display to the different user access roles and show exactly what you want them to see. So that is a where, a condition. So you have where in. So where in, it will help you. You know these eloquent wheres, I hope you know them, because we first discussed those things in what? In Laravel. So where in, it will help us to show exactly same thing that, exactly things that are in that what? In that bracket. For example, let us say that it is maybe a user who has a lot of relationships, so, and you want them to display where the IDs are the things that he's related to. So you can put those IDs in that kind of an array, and then you put where in, and then it will show them that where in. So where between, you know what it means? It can show the difference between the two ranges, okay? So you can say, so for example, what we have just written, you can replace it with this where between, and then you put here ID, and then you put where it should start and where it should not end. So that is the where between. So you can as well use these to do what, to compare two different columns. So if you put where column, you can compare these two different columns. For example, you want where the updated column is greater than the created column. So you can do like this, and then to compare the two columns and implement this operator. Then you have order by. I've already taken that order by. I've already shown you the order by how it does. And then take a specific number. This take of a specific number will limit, it is equivalent to limit. It will limit the number of what is being displayed, okay? So that is take. So I hope you've understood that, okay? I hope you've understood that. So you can go ahead and practice much more from these examples that I've just shown you here. So that's where it's very important. Then you have the paginate. So when you have too much data in your Laravel admin table, it will do what? It will have to create the paginations. For example, let me first put here maybe the very big, so you can see where it's greater than 0 and where it's maybe less than 500. So if I come and refresh here, I think let us put the dummy data. Okay, let us first put dummy data so you can have enough things to practice with. Okay, so to put dummy data, I can just simply come here and create my loop for loop, and it's going to create for me, let's say 100 records. So in this loop is nothing, it's just nothing but a loop, and I'm going to create a building. B equals to new, let's say, building, and then I put building name, so I can say maybe building 1, and then what else? Building photo, I can say maybe photo, I can say maybe 1, and then I attach maybe .jpg. Details, I can put there the details for building 1, and then I save. Let me see if I've not left the important column. This maybe the gallery only. Okay, so this one is going to create for me 1000 what? 1000 building. I mean 100 buildings when I refresh, and then I'll come back and comment it. Okay, so let me go ahead and refresh. You can see it has created for me 100 buildings. So let me go ahead and comment it, because I don't need to execute 2 times. I can even delete it if I want. All right, let me put here in the bottom. So I hope you've seen that. Now we have 100 buildings in our system, and then you can see we have paginations. You can go to another page. You can go to another page like this. So we are here on paginate. So I can say I want it to show 15 by default. So you can see here the pagination is 20, where the user can show 20 records per table. So if I want the user to show by default 15 records per table or 10 records per table, so to do that, you just simply come here and say you get just your grid, and then say paginate like this, paginate, and then I put the default one. I can say maybe I want him to see 10 per page. So if I do like that, the user will be able to see the default one that I will have just set, which is 10 per page. So if I refresh, you see the user is seeing 10 records per page. You can come to this one, like, until the user changes, then they'll be able to do what? To see the ones that they want to see per page. But if you want to set the default per pagination, That's how you do it. That's how you set it. Okay. So I hope you've understood that. So modifying the display, we have already discussed that, how to modify the display. And you can see here, you can even put your simple HTML when you're modifying the what? When you're modifying the display. So for example, the name of a column can be too long and you want to limit it so the table should be organized. You just simply modify the display and then limit like str limit and then to limit to the value that you want. So I've looked at the display and I've shown you how you can display from different columns. And let's say that you want to display in the name, you need to display first name and last name. You can as well do that. You can even introduce your own value that was not there. For example, let me say I want to display something or the number of rooms. Okay, let's say that I want to display the number of rooms. So you don't have a column for number of rooms, but you want to display, for example. If you want to do that, you just simply come and create your own display. Okay, so it will be just simply column, and then I'll remove this one. Don't put sortable in the column that is not originally there. So the name I can put here maybe rooms, something like this. Room number, rooms, or number of rooms. Okay, number of rooms, number of rooms in that building. Okay, number of rooms, and then I can come and put here the display. I change what the user should see, rooms, and then after doing that, I come here and put the display that I want. So it is display, and then I put display function, and then I put here what I want to see. So it is return rooms, and then I count the rooms. You know, I already have this. Can you see? We already have this rooms method there. Okay, so I can call it, and then I count the number of rooms by returning like this. Let me hope that will work. Let me come and refresh. You see, it is able to what? Count the number of rooms. However, you cannot sort this because this is not a column. So let me remove the sort. Otherwise, if you sort, it will crash because it is not a column. So I can be able to see the number of rooms in each building. So if I sort here, for example, the things that we first put, the buildings, order by descending, order by ascending. I am on second page. Let me go to first page. You see, for example, this has one room. Hope you get the point, right? So that's how you can put anything, I mean a column that was not originally there. So what else? I may need to put now the what? The disable create button. So disable create button is the scenario when you don't want a specific user to create, okay, or you don't want a creation button to happen. So you can put your condition there. You can first put the condition, and then you go ahead and disable the button. Okay, so I just simply say disable create button. So disable create button will make this button not to appear. So if I come and refresh right now, you'll see the new button will not appear. That is the disable create button. So you can disable other buttons. For example, you can disable the create button. You can disable pagination. So if you disable the pagination, it means that the user will not use the pagination feature. Let me go ahead and disable the pagination and we see. So I can just simply say disable pagination, and then I come and refresh. Can you see? The table will come as a whole and do not have that pagination, which is not very good. So you can disable the pagination, you can disable the new button. Okay, you can disable the filter button. For example, you don't want the users to see the filter button, you can disable it. You can disable the export button. You can disable the row selector button. Okay, you can disable the actions. For example, you don't want that actions column there, you can disable it. So go ahead and try everything that I'm showing you here. I can disable this actions column. So if I come here and refresh, I'll not be able to see the what? I'll not be able to see the action columns. You see the action column that was here, which has edit, delete, etc. It has been disabled. Okay, you can disable more things. Okay, column selector, you can disable. Now you can put here the per pages. So per pages is the number of options that you want to show the users here. For example, here, if you want the user to be able to filter even up to 5,500 per page, you can just simply add it in the per pages that you want. Here. Here. You get it? So I can say maybe the user should also be able to filter by and view 500 records per time. So Laravel admin gives us up to what? Up to 100 records pagination. But I can as well come here and say per pages, and then I put 10, 20, and then I can put maybe 500. So if this one is not originally there, it's going to do what? To be added. So if you see here, we have these, and now if I go ahead and refresh, these per pages will be updated. Now if I check, you see I even have 500 viewing by 500. So if you want the user to be able to view 500 records per record per table, you can use that per pages to modify the pagination that you want. So let's go ahead to the relationship. So this relationship, we can use it to display one-to-one or one-to-one information. For example, we said that if you still remember, a room had a room profile. So what if you want to display the room profile in the same table? So first of all, you first create the your relationships in the model like this, like they we discussed in previous classes. Okay, like a one room has one profile, something like this. Okay, so we discussed all these, and then after creating that relationship, so you can reference it by just simply putting the name of the method that you use to relate, and then dot the value. For example, let's say that if you still remember, let's go to our local database, phpAdmin, and then I show you what we're going to do. So we can even simply fetch data from different tables. Now let's go ahead here and see. So this is the building. If I press Ctrl and click on it and I have PHP interface, it will take me to the building. So the building has, for example, building profile, and then this building profile, it has its own things, So if I want to display one of them, and I say, let me come back to the grid. My laptop is becoming slow. Okay. If you still remember, we had this. Let me first go to the system that you're using. This is the database. So this is the building profiles. This one, it belongs to each building here. So you see, we have this one. Now let us say that we want to present the building type also in that table. And building type is not in the other table of buildings, but it belongs to one of the other tables, one-to-one relationship, you still remember. So I assume that I want to display, for example, there when it was built in the same table. So I'll just simply, but this year when it was built, it is in the It is in the profile. And this is how we related the building profile using this method name. And they say it belongs, it has one, this one like this. It has one building profile. So what if we want to display that? So what we'll do, we'll just simply come here and then say, come to the grid and then put the grid and then say, like this, and put column, then open bracket, and then put what you want to display. Okay, so what I want to display is the year when it was manufactured, and I know this one is in another table. So I'll just simply say come here and then I say building profile, and then I put the other table, and then I put dot, then year build. Okay, can remove this display. I just want you to see the whole, the basic information. So here I'm just using the relationship to retrieve information from another table that will hit particular record. So if I come here and refresh, so those one which have the year when it was built, for example, those building that you entered at first, can you see? It will have the year here. Can you see? And you know this one, it comes from what? From total external what? External table. So that is how you can reference. However, I cannot put things like sort by. So you see, just simply, for example, if you're a user and have your profile separately, so use what you use to relate, if it is profile or if it's anything. So use the relationship, and then you say dot, then the value in another table through that relationship. So by doing like that, you can be able to display information from another table using that relationship. You can do it like this by saying whatever relationship, and then you call the name of the column on that particular relationship. That one also works. So I hope you've understood. I hope you've understood that. Let me go ahead and demonstrate one more thing. For example, you want to display even the architecture, the architect. So I can just simply come here and get the correct name of architect, and then I duplicate this one, and then I say architect, and then I come here and just change the what? The column architect. And then if I come and refresh, you'll be able to see that I have the architect here in the second column. So different things from different tables using the relationship. I hope you've understood that. So Laravel Admin also supports one-to-many. Okay, so assume that each room has a rating, okay, or has ratings, and you want to display them. They say that the table generates one-to-many association via this. Okay, then you put has many, and then put belongs to, and you can also associate in the following code, and then you say comments, for example, and then say comments, and then you count them here. Yeah, we did this one on rooms, so you can just simply say rooms, and then you'll get the rooms here, and then you can work with them from here. For example, one table has what? Has many rooms. So instead of putting here number of rooms, you can use the very name of rooms like this. You know, we've already created the relationship. So instead of doing like this, you can just simply say, you can receive these values here, and then come and put that value without even using this. Okay, so by doing like this, it will be able to get these rooms. So these rooms are the rooms. This is an array. In fact, is an array of what? Of rooms. So you can do anything that you want. You can loop and display it the what? The way any way that you want. But here for me, I'm just counting them, and then I display. So if I come and refresh here, I should be able to achieve the same thing. So can you see? I have these rooms here counted. So in other words, they gave us all the rooms in this array, and then we can modify it in any way that we want. I just decide to display. So many to many, so possible. And you can modify it from what? From the displaying part. So that's it, the basic usage of grid. So in the next class, or in the next lecture, we are going to look at now at the column usage and exploit everything. So many things that you need to know about the what? About the Laravel admin grid column. So we're going to display, because the column is where now the whole magic is. So we're going to go into details of the what of the column in the next what in the next class. So this marks our end of today's class, and make sure that you don't miss in the next class. Make sure you subscribe to our what to our YouTube channel. So make sure that you be in the next class. That's the whole point. And because we're going to look at much more interesting things about the what the grid columns. All right. See you, and don't miss and subscribe, and goodbye.